Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to Gurukul Online Learning Network. Today I'm instructor Sheikh Mahadi. We're going to study Finance and Banking, Chapter 4, Financial Statement Analysis. So far in the previous lessons or in the previous class, we've done up to 7 to 8 types of maths. So today we're going to learn about cost of commercial paper. What's the cost of commercial paper? It's simple. It's in one line only. The interest yield on a commercial paper is considered as the cost of issuing the paper. The interest of the interest yield of a commercial paper can be calculated in one certain way. So the interest yield, cost of commercial paper, interest yield is equal to face value minus net sales price divided by net sales price into 360 divided by days to maturity. It's a huge formula. Face value minus net sales price divided by net sales price into 360 divided by days to maturity. So, for instance, let's take a look at an example. A company which paper matures within 90 days and has a face value of taka 300. The commercial paper gets sold at taka 290. So, the interest yield on the commercial paper would be, so face value minus net sales price. What was the face value? Face value, as I mentioned, was 300 and the net sales price was 290. The commercial paper got sold at taka 290. So 300 minus 290 divided by net sales price. Net sales price is the same as 290. 290 into 360 divided by days to maturity. We thought days to maturity was 90 days. So 360 divided by 90. 360 divided by 90. So, let's take a quick math. 10 divided by 290 into 360, 90. It will be 90. 9 nines are 36. Sorry, only 9. 10 divided by 290 into 9. So, 10 divided by 90 is 0.29 into 9. Final sum of results of R will be 0.137 blah blah blah. We can take that into 13.7%. So that's the interest yield of a commercial paper. Can erase this. So, today we're going to learn then secondly, economic order quantity, EOQ. As I said, EOQ. It's called the economic order quantity. Economic order quantity. EOQ stands for economic order quantity. So, what is economic order quantity? EOQ model is best known as the approach for explicitly establishing an optimal inventory level. What's an inventory? Inventory is, suppose I have a manufacturing industry or a manufacturing company where I take sellable goods, where I buy sellable goods. Sorry, I buy goods and then turn them into sellable goods for me. Then I sell them on my behalf to make some profits. Suppose in a manufacturing industry or in a manufacturing company, I bought some raw materials. Raw materials would be like silk, cotton, sheep wool. These all are the products, or the ingredients or the raw materials to make clothes for different seasons, like silk, cottons. Those could be for some summer, some for winter, and wool. Those are for the winter. So these things that I have stored in my warehouse, those things are called inventory. So having an inventory less than the demand leads to the dissatisfaction of customer. So suppose our market is demanding woolen cloths for the winter. The market demanded a supply of 500,000 unit, but I cannot supply that 500,000 unit to the customers. My supply is only 375,000 units. So the market's customer would be very much dissatisfied in my sellable goods, or they directly would be dissatisfied with me. So having an inventory less than the demand leads to the dissatisfaction of customers. On the other hand, it is equally a bad practice to have an inventory that is much more than what is needed. Suppose the market demand is 100,000 units, but the inventory I have, with that inventory I can make products up to a 500,000 or 300,000. So that market demand is only 100,000. The other 200,000 or the 400,000 unit will be totally damaged and wasted. So that's why we can say it's a bad practice to have an inventory that is much more than needed. Like, you can't eat more than you can have. Your capacity is full. If you're trying to eat more than that, sometimes you may vomit or nauseate. So an optimum level of inventory has to be maintained. The EOQ is necessary for that. The EOQ, it measures the market demand and the supplying process that we are having, and how much product we should have, or product or raw material or goods, finished goods we should have in our inventory. So the EOQ helps us to determine the optimum level of inventory. As said, it tells us how much to order and when the order needs to be placed, because the amount of order we are placing that we will be getting in the far future, and the amount of order when need to be placed, because sometimes, let's suppose far future, in from 2 weeks the market's demand will be 300,000 unit, but if I order today, when our supplies came, our order will be according to the markets 5 weeks later, which will be 7,000 units. So it gives us a very particular and a certain time when we have to order that. Then when after 2 weeks, not after 5, after 2 weeks is when the market's demand will be 300,000 unit. Within that time we can get our supplies and we can make products and supply it after 2 weeks, not after 5 weeks. So that's why they said it helps to determine how much to order and when the order needs to be placed. It is the optimum order quantity that will minimize the total inventory cost, helping with doing our process or maths or whatever we are doing, placing order, how much order is to be produced or to be ordered, the quantity. If these all are mixed up, our inventory cost will touch the sky. It will literally be off the charts. A huge amount of loss will be incurred. That's why EOQ helps us to develop that optimum level of inventory cost within the most minimum amount of money used. So in order to minimize the total inventory cost, we need to see how much we keep in our mind while ascertaining to the economical order level. So let's take a look at the formula. EOQ is root over 2 into Z into CR divided by C into CI. So C into CI or O, interest for anything we can be just given off. So Z is the demand unit. CR is the ordering cost. C is the cost of that item. And CO or CI, it is called the carrying cost. So let us take for an example. The demand for a product over a period of year is 85,000 units. The unit cost, so let's just write it down. Z is equal to 85,000. No, as we know all of those, we won't. Okay. EOQ will go for root over 2 into Z into CR. C into CO. 2 into, so what is our Z? Our Z was demand unit. Demand unit, they said, for a period of 1 year is 85,000 unit. 85,000 unit into the CR. What was our CR? Our carrying cost. Sorry, our ordering cost. The CR was 12. The C, let's take a look at that. The unit cost of the item, which was the 15. 15 was the C, cost of item. Cost of item is given only 15, and 18 is the average carried inventory respectively, which is the carrying cost, 18%. You just multiply this line, multiply this, divide them, and take a root over those. We will eventually get a result of 869 point something. If we just divide that, simply just root that or take out the points, it was 869. In case of EOQ, in case of EOQ, we do not need to include any kinds of points. So from the above calculation, it implies that in order to have an optimal level of inventory, each time while placing an order, 869 units of product need to be ordered. Because if more products are ordered, like more than 869, our inventory will be left off, that will not be used, it will be simply damaged. But if we order less than 869, we cannot fulfill the market's demand, our consumers' demand. So our goodwill will be very much downwards or downgraded. So let's just erase it. So thirdly, reorder point. What's a reorder point? Reorder point is that thing that we just did the EOQ, that how much we have to order, when we have to order. Secondly comes the reorder, because you just do not order once a year. You need to order every year, or sometimes even twice a year. So besides knowing how much to order, it's also necessary to know when to reorder that product samely. This means the quantity to which inventory must fall in order to signal that an order must be placed to restock that same item in the inventory or the grocer's shop or the warehouses. This quantity is termed as reorder point. Usually, there is a time lapse between placement of a purchase order and receipt of the inventory. What's a time lapse? Purchase of the order and receipt of the inventory. You just purchase that and receipt, that was receipt of the order and the purchasing time of that order. Those two will have a huge time difference. That's called a time lapse. Usually, there is a the length of the time between the placement of an order for an inventory item and when the item is received in the inventory is called lead time. So let's take a look at that again. The length of time between placement of an order and inventory item and when the item is received. That means, suppose I placed an order today and I got my package or the parcel or the order after a week. So that time is called the lead time. The length between the placement of order and after the time when I had the product in my hand, that time is called the lead time, which was previously said as the time lapse, as I mentioned earlier. So reorder points formula is simple. Lead time into usage divided by 365, our lead time. So let's take for an example. Let's take a restaurant. A restaurant uses 730 dozens of cups every year and its lead time is only 4 days. So 4 days, what's the lead time? When they ordered and when they are getting the product on their hand. So lead time is 4 into our usage was 730 dozens of cups every year. 730 units or cups singularly, we can take that into consideration. So 4 into 730 divided by 365, sum of that, divide that, we will get 8. Our final result is 8. So as soon as the inventory level goes below 8 dozen, the restaurant must place an order. So what does that mean? 8 dozen. Out of 730 dozen, we are spending all the 730. 730 we're spending all of this, giving out to the customers. But as soon as we have hit the time or the amount of 727 dozens is over and only 722 dozens are sold out and only 8 dozens are left, that is the peak time when we have to order those products again. That's the reorder point, and the lead time is 4 days. That means when we will have 8 dozens of cups in our hand and we will order that, it will take 4 days from that point. 4 days from that point to get another 730 batches of cup. So that's simply the reorder point. Secondly, let's take at the safety or buffer stock. What's the safety or buffer stock? Inventory that is held in reserve as a buffer against uncertain demand or usage is called a safety stock. Safety is maintained. There has to be a change in the above equation of reorder point. So reorder point is mostly as taking safety into account. So safety stock would be like demand per unit. So in above affirmative example, we saw the restaurant maintained a buffer stock of 5 dozen paper cup, and the reorder point for that will be like, let me tell you, safety stock. Safety stock plus safety stock was given of our 5 dozens, and then we'll take the normal reorder point. Safety stock plus, our reorder point was only 8 lead time. lead time. Which one was known as the lead time? The point when we will place our order and up to the date when we will receive it. So lead time into usage of demand or usage. These things we got in the previous one. In the previous math, we had these. So our safety stock was given 5 dozens and our lead time or usage in the reorder point in the same equation we got 8 plus 8 dozens. So that makes a 13 dozens of cup. So in that previous example, our safety or buffer stock is in case when we have 8 dozens and within the lead time of 4 days we do not get our cups, we will have an extra safety stock of 5 dozen. That means the safety stock will be of 30 dozens of paper cups for that. So that's all for today. If you have any kinds of questions or comments regarding this lesson, please let us know down in the comment box below and be with Gurukul. Thank you.